Coming up next, they've got a Northern Illinois team, Alec, that although last year, not much to look at, they've started the season off with a new coach and a big-time win as they knock off a Power 5 team in Washington on the road in their first game. I saw Tom make a comment that don't dig too deep into their numbers. One kid got hot. Other than that, there was not much against that Washington, and they barely beat Northern Arizona last night. Hey, but you know what? They're 2-0. And they did beat Washington. So what are we looking at this game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a lot in the front court. That's the biggest issue for them. They are probably going to roll out 4 guards in their starting lineup, but it's funny. 2 of their top players, Trenton Hankerson, the point guard, and then Anthony Crump, transfer from Middle Tennessee. They're actually both right from around my hometown. They played in the same conference I did in high school, so I got to see a lot of them. Obviously, a couple years younger than I am, but I got to see a lot of them. 2
Did you shut them both down?
They weren't in high school when I was, so that just shows you how old I am now. But they super skilled. When I was doing some work back after college up in Michigan, scouting wise, I was able to see them in practice sometimes. They're both super skilled, both really fundamentally sound players. Anthony Crump is one of those guys, a 6'8" kind of point forward. I think Indiana's going to struggle a little bit with kind of containing what he can do versatility wise. He's not going to be someone who blows you away with crazy speed. But his length on both ends of the floor is something that I think Indiana will struggle with, at least earlier in the game. You just don't see a lot of kind of 6'8" distributors. Trenton Hankerson is going to be a lot more of kind of that scoring threat than Crump is. Crump's not a great shooter. But yeah, Hankerson is a guy who can get you a bucket. He has really elevated his game over the last season and a half for Northern Illinois. Likes the big time moments. Physical guard as well. A bit lankier than you'd like, maybe going into kind of a Big Ten game where you have a Xavier Johnson or a Rob Finney, very physical type style of point guards in that backcourt. But those 2 guys really run Northern Illinois. They're both very talented at kind of what they do. Not a great shooting team all around, even though they did hit, I think it was 12 threes against Washington. They shot about 50% from 3. But one game, going back to last year, they weren't tremendous shooters. And the biggest thing for Indiana, just stick to their game, right? Get it down low to Trace Jackson Davis. They will probably see a lot more double teams than what they saw on Tuesday, just because Eastern Michigan did have at least a little bit more size and kind of physical play than going with kind of four guards that Northern Illinois will. So it's going to come down to Indiana really making these shots and having open looks, which I think they'll be able to convert on. But that's kind of the look at Northern Illinois, kind of is run by those 2 guys, and you have a couple other guards who can kind of get hot and streaky from the perimeter, but for their careers haven't shot better than about 33% from deep.
Yeah, Hankerson, he had 28 and 7 and 3 steals the other night in that win. Crump, 11 and 11 and 6 assists. Those are nice numbers. A lot of their players apparently are from, transferred in. Keyshawn Williams, Caleb Thornton, Adong McCoy. What are those guys? You've got transfers. We just talked about Indiana and that synchronicity and meshing. That kind of working out well for them. They've got a 6'7" Chindu Kingsley Okanu. He had 4 blocks in the season opener. So they've got a lot of guys that can do a lot of things.
Yeah, they do. They, like I said, I think some of those other guards, if you look deeper into their numbers, from their either JUCO or past programs before they transferred into Northern Illinois, weren't great shooters. Like I said, kind of 33% from behind the arc. So they did, I think those 2 backcourt guys, in addition to Hankerson and Crump, went 4 for 6, 4 for 7 from deep in that game on Tuesday against Washington. Wouldn't be surprised to see one of them continue that, but I don't think both of them are going to shoot that same percentage. You never seem to kind of click back-to-back nights when it comes to streaky shooters. Again, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what Indiana can do to really limit the amount of kind of ball screen action against Trendon Hankerson and force some of these other guards to beat them instead of letting Hankerson kind of pick the defense apart, which he can do. He has very good pacing to the game, very good high IQ player. So he knows how to score. He knows how to get into the lane, and he knows how to pick his spots. So as long as this game doesn't come down to the wire, I think Indiana is going to be fine. But I think Trendon Hankerson is a guy that you do have to watch out for if this game is a lot closer than what it should be.
And do they start what they consider a 4-guard offense? Is Anthony Crump considered a hybrid guard forward at 6'8"?
Yeah, so he played point guard in high school. That's where you see a lot of his passing ability from. Obviously, at 6'8", they tried to move him when he was at Middle Tennessee. Didn't start really much, but they tried to move him kind of to that wing, playing that 3 position. Again, not a great shooter, so you lose a little bit there. That's why you want him with the ball in his hands a little bit more often than not. But they'll do a lot with him in ball screen action as well, because he just obviously 6'8" can see over the defender more oftentimes than not, and just has a really good ability to kind of find those passing lanes, even if it's a hockey assist where his pass leads to another one. He does a really good job of kind of finding those angles in the defense. But yeah, he's definitely more of a guard than a forward.
Well, that begs the question with Indiana starting a 3-guard lineup with Trace Jackson. Well, however you want to look at it, not really a 3-guard lineup. Miller Kopp is on the wing there, whatever you want to call it, a 2-3. But who's going to draw that assignment on Crump or the 4 guy? Because Indiana, you've got Trace and Race, who obviously are considered your genuine bigs. Who's going to draw that assignment, because it sounds like a tough assignment either way?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Race. Obviously, really, really fundamentally sound defender. Does pretty well, kind of moving horizontally as well. So I think he's going to be able to kind of get up a little bit and disrupt Anthony Crump and kind of what they're going to try to use him with. But again, if you lay off of him just a little bit, he's not going to kill you from deep. That's the biggest thing. If he was a better 3-point shooter, a more consistent 3-point shooter, that'd be a lot more of an issue for Indiana, just because I don't think you have a lot of confidence, at least as of right now at this stage, with either of Trace Jackson Davis or Race Thompson being able to guard 100% of the time out on the perimeter, but still have a guy who can beat you off the dribble. So that's the good thing for Indiana, is you don't have to worry about both of those things. So I think it's going to be Race Thompson. I think you'll see Jordan Geronimo as well kind of match up really well when he gets in the game with Crump, and that length and athleticism. So I think you look at those 2 guys and potentially Miller Kopp, just given kind of a third look there for going against Anthony Crump.